Brothers, what is going on? Todd Jason here. Super happy to be with you. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. The 3 most important practices that can help you reprogram your mind and create levels of freedom in your life that are actually hard to imagine right now. And for the brothers that are on this live call, there's 78 guys. What's up, Chris? What's up, Johnny? Good to see you guys. You guys know the power of these practices, and for the guys that are watching this on recording, you're in for a treat because these 3 practices really are at the core of what Man for Man is all about, and really at the core of what I've uncovered from 20 plus years of working in growth and development and the last several years of working with men to help brothers find that passion, find that joy in very specific ways. Okay, so what I'm going to be giving you are 3 core practices with exercises. So I want you to get out a pen and paper because this is a practice-oriented approach, just not ideas. I'm going to be giving you things to do today that are going to help you achieve levels of freedom or experience levels of freedom that you probably haven't felt in some time. All right. So I'm just super happy to be with you. And before we jump into them, I just want to share why we're doing this. What's the point of understanding these 3 core practices? Well, most men are dealing with stuff, right? You're dealing with limitations in various areas of your lives. They could be things that are obvious and external, or they could be things that are more internal. And for men in our modern world, we're dealing with our work. Most guys have things within their existing work that they want to change or get better at. Perhaps you have a side hustle, something that you want to kind of really develop and figure out how to structure and spend more time creatively growing something that's more passionate. Perhaps you just want to get different work altogether, or it could be around money making. You want to make more money. You want to have more flow, and you haven't really figured out how to do that. For a lot of guys, it's relationships. Your existing relationships are kind of mediocre, and you're trying to figure out how to get them more juicy or how to find new relationships that are good. For a lot of us, it's body, physical, energy stuff, right? We want to look better. We want to feel better in our bodies. We're feeling like we're getting a little bit older. Maybe we need to get in better shape. At the base of this, for most of us, it's mindset. We want to figure out how to be in that best version of ourselves all the time. So that way that becomes the default way we show up. So that way the flow, the abundance, the joy is just a magnetic force of energy that we represent, right? And so if any of that rings true, if any of those areas of your life could use some betterment, you're in the right place. Okay, and what I'm going to run through are these 3 core practices that go together, as you're going to see in a very unique way that can help you start to navigate towards that bigger and better and more exciting version of yourself. And so the 3 practices, as I said, are really like a matrix. They're not just one-offs. They really go together and work together in a way that can help you propel your life forward. So I want to jump in and go right into practice number 1, which is something that we call life blueprinting. And so this idea of creating a life vision is not new. Okay, the way that we do it is new, but the idea of creating a life vision for yourself is not new. I mean, have you ever written a New Year's resolution? Have you ever taken some time to write down the things that you want to achieve or experience in this life, right? Most of us have actually done that, but we supercharge that process. And this is where we must begin, because what I found in all these years of doing this work is that when we don't have clarity or we don't activate creativity in terms of understanding what are the things that we really want to experience, to achieve in our lives, it's very hard for us to find the systematic ways to start making things happen to make us happy. We have to start by actually visualizing the specific things in our lives that we want to experience with excitement, with motivation, right? So the way that we do this is very unique in our work. And we have this whole methodology of thinking with the end in mind. So we got to start by thinking with the end in mind. And when I say the end, I'm talking about with the end of our lives, thinking with the end of our lives in mind. And I'm going to, in a moment, give you the practice for this. It is a mind-blowing practice, one that you can start right when this video is over, that will immediately have an impact on your energy levels, on your motivation, and on your excitement. And when we're talking about thinking with the end in mind, we have to remember that this life is short, right? We're not going to be here forever. And guys come in here and like you're working on stuff. Like you want to do better. You want to have that job. You want to have more money. You want to have that relationship. You want to have that family. You want to have these adventures. It's so serious. Like we're working so hard on all this stuff. And we forget that these lives are short and they're precious. And there's a sacred element to them. And we got to tap into that, because tapping into that enables us to have some space in terms of the stress and anxiety that we put on ourselves. And then we can start thinking creatively. We actually become the witness to our lives instead of being so in the stress. And we can then start having fun by creating the things that we want. And I often tell our brothers that think about your great grandparents. Okay, this is a fun exercise. Think about your great grandparents 4 greats ago. These are people that are in your lineage and they lived what? Hundreds of years ago, at least 150 years ago, right? But you don't know who they are for the most part. Maybe 1 or 2 of you, oh, I know who they are. But for the most part, we don't know who these people were, yet we are here because of them. But what I can tell you about these people that lived 150 years ago is that they had their lives and they had their stresses and they had their dreams and they had their challenges and they had their money situations and they had their relationship problems and their relationship bliss. And all the things that you have and don't have, they had. Yet we don't know them. We don't remember them. Okay? And that's a sad and humbling thing to remember, but they've passed. And all the things that they took so seriously are also gone in the dust, in the wind. So when we start this process, we have to begin with that idea for ourselves, because thinking about our own demise and understanding that our lives are short and limited isn't depressing. It's actually freedom. Okay? And if you get anything from me, it's this point, that thinking with the end in mind and understanding that we will no longer be here at some point is not something to run away from. It's actually something to go into deeper, because it's in that awareness that we can then activate a level of excitement and freedom of like, okay, well, if that's the case, I might as well go for it right now. And that's why you're here, because you want to learn how to go for it right now. You want to learn to soak up every last ounce of this life, don't you? You want to achieve everything. You want to have love and experience and kindness and contribution and impact and creativity. Well, here's how we do it. We start by getting out of our own way. We get out of the short-term mindset, which we are addicted to, and we start playing the long game. Oh man, this is so big when you can start playing the long game of your life and you become the observer, you become the witness to your experience, and you're working within a plan that has you excited. Boom. You'll never go back. Things change. And that's why so many guys in our programs and our work are having these life transforming things happen, because they've gotten out of the present moment stress into a long-term game plan and systematically working towards it. Game changer. So the specific practice that I want to share with you around this notion of life blueprinting is very specific. Okay, this isn't just some random stuff. I want you to write this down, because after this, I'm going to have you go ahead and do this. Is to write your own eulogy. Now, I know that sounds incredibly morbid, and if you don't know what a eulogy is, it's what's said about somebody when they're no longer here at a funeral. It could be written, but it's words that are spoken or written by somebody talking about the person that's passed. So you're like, Todd, why would you have me write my own eulogy? Well, it's in that process and in that practice that you can begin to get a sense of what it is that you really want to achieve. Because the way that I'm going to have you write this, there's a couple of rules to having you write this, is number one. Well, first off, I want you to commit right now to doing this, okay? Like, I'm going to explain it, but I want you to say, all right, I'll play along, and I'll go ahead and write my eulogy as he's going to explain. The second most important piece is to spend some time visualizing and envisioning the most idealistic version of your life, and have that be what's said when you do this practice. Okay, so what did you achieve? What was the work in your world? Where were you when you passed? Who were you surrounded by? Who were the people in your life? What was your work in the world? What was the impact that you had? Right? What were the adventures that you had? Like, get out of your own way for a moment and just think as if the brother that is the best version of you has already walked the path and you are just sitting there reading about it as if it's already done. You see how powerful this is? Okay, it's to get out of your own way and with no limitations. Just think about all the things that you want to achieve, that you want to experience, and live as if this man has already done it. The second or the third most important piece on this is to have fun with it. Okay, and this is the one that I just gotta hammer home right now, because guys will come in here and they'll take this seriously. They'll take this on. You'll take my coaching. You say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and write my eulogy, but I'm gonna really be serious around it. Don't be serious around it. Okay, everything is serious in this life. I want you to actually have fun with this. Be light. Allow the creativity to flow. Set aside an hour and just free write. Okay, and just like, what do you want? What is said about you? You know, like who, like what actually happened? Okay, you don't have to do anything with this. Don't think right now, well, I better make this really good because he's going to tell me to do something with it. Maybe, but for right now, let it go. I want you to just write the eulogy. What did you do? What was this life like? Okay, because what you're going to experience, if this works, is a difference between your current trajectory and the trajectory of the man, the brother, who did all this. That's a good thing. Because it's in that difference between where you are right now and where you want to go, where the growth can happen. Okay, so we're mapping out a very clear growth path for you. All right, you're going to ask me, well, who's reading this eulogy? You know, who's writing it or reading it? That's part of the visualization and the imagination that I want you to use. Is it your wife? Is it your partner? Is it your kids? I've had men who didn't have family, you know, say, all right, well, in 80 years from now, I'm going to have grandkids. They're the ones reading it. Great. Use your imagination. This is a creative exercise, first and foremost, okay? This is not something that I want you to think about too hard and too seriously. Have fun with it. That's right, guys. You came in here, and I'm telling you to do something that sounds incredibly morbid, and then I'm telling you to have fun with it. But that's the exercise, okay? So think about it. Who's writing the eulogy? Where were you? Like, what actually happened? No limitations. I've read so many of these, and oftentimes a brother will come to me and it's like, I'll read what he wrote, and I'm like, this is what you wrote? Like your biggest dreams, and this is what happened? You know, your wife died of cancer and you took care of her. Like, no, like get out of your own limitation, because what you're gonna meet is the limited mind. You're gonna meet the limitation. That's where we gotta begin this process, by getting you through the limitation. Right? And you do it by using your imagination, sparking the greatness. I want you to feel it. Feel the excitement of what is possible by living this life. It's okay. It's okay for us to feel it. It's okay for us to actually get out of our own way. Look, in our education system, most of us went into school. We started studying subjects, topics, science, math, English, all fine. And then we went into different specialties and we got jobs and we have careers. And it's like most of us wake up and go, how do we get here? We didn't think with the end in mind. We weren't taught how to do this. Most of our parents and teachers didn't teach us how to do this, and that's okay. There's no blame there. But we have the opportunity now to actually do this. In fact, this exercise has become so powerful based on our work that we now have children in school doing this, which is great. But you're here now as an adult man thinking, well, is it too late for me to start recreating this? No, it's not. Okay, this is when you begin. At any moment in time, you can shift your destiny. And that's what we're doing here, isn't it, brothers? I'm giving you an opportunity to lay out your legacy, your destiny. Go for it. Write the eulogy. One of the most powerful practices that I've ever seen. The last piece that I want to share on the eulogy is, you know, when people read a eulogy, if you've ever read one or been to a funeral, they don't talk so much about the accomplishments and the money and, you know, the achievements and the adventure. What they're really talking about, and this is so important, is who the man was, who the person was that passed. What kind of person were they? Like, what were the funny stories? Like, what do they do? How do they make people feel? Oh man, if you really want to take advantage of this process, get a sense of who you were at your greatest and do it now while you're living. Who is that ideal version of you? How does he show up in the world? Is he that rock that takes care of everybody? Was he that spontaneous guy that went out and just traveled all over the world? Was he that business mogul that just built businesses? Was he that like game-changing author that changed the way that children's literature worked? I mean, whatever. I've seen so many dreams come out of this, and I want you to start dreaming about this by sensing into the type of man that went out to achieve this, okay? And you will see a difference between who you are right now and the guy that actually went out and did this life. And that, again, is a good thing, because that difference between his legacy and your trajectory now is the space by which you can grow and change. And we have built a systematic way, not to get too far ahead, but a systematic way for you then to take this information as part of the life blueprinting process, and then we start working backwards. And in later steps, we build a 5-year plan, and then a 1-year plan, and then a 6-month plan, and then we take on a project right now moving forward that represents everything that you wrote in your eulogy. So life blueprinting is not just some random thing. It's not some cute little thing where we just write it out. No, this is it. This is a map for your life. And we start by thinking with the end first, and we work backwards. And in this teaching, in this video, we begin with the creative, fun process of writing one's own eulogy. You got it, brothers? So good, so good. So I want you to, after this video, get out a pen and paper, get out a Google Doc, write it out, get it out. Like, try it. It might be hard, it might be easy. Some guys, like, thousands of things come out. Some guys, it's really hard. Whatever it is for you, just do it. That's the most important thing. The next most important thing is to sleep on it. Let it go, come back to it the next day, work on this, take this on. Take on the project of you. I'm giving you an opportunity to create a life of absolute freedom in a way that I know works, that I've seen work over and over again. So take it. The second piece of this matrix of how to really kind of shift and reprogram your mind out of negativity into a consistent experience of positivity is to directly deal with the negative thinking, the negative thoughts, the negative patterns, the negative behaviors that we all have. And I want to just share on this piece, guys, that in all these years in working in this growth and development field, this part has been what 99.99% of the courses, teachers, and people are doing. It's all about kind of shifting mindset, getting into a mindful state, training your brain to be positive and hopeful and free. And absolutely, like, this is definitely something that we need to do, right? Because we are all dealing with elements of negativity that are running like programs in our mind, right? Like, don't you have that? Don't you have like this negative thinking, this fear, this, this doubt? You're human, so you have it. I have it, okay? And yes, a big part of the work that we do together is looking at how to shift away from a negative mindset to a more positive mindset and having that become your default. And there's very specific practices that we do that I'm not going to run into in this video because there's a whole lineage of things that we do. But the most important thing I want you to get from this point is the connection with squashing negative thinking with the first thing of life blueprinting. Because what we found in all these years is that the fastest way to truly shift your mindset is to gain leverage over yourself. And what's that leverage that I'm talking about? What's the leverage? How do you really change your mind, your thinking from negative to positive? You got to create some excitement about your future. There needs to be a reason why you're doing this harder work. It's not easy to kind of change the mind, the negative thinking. There's programs that are running that we're not aware of all the time. But when you start to orient towards this more exciting vision, this eulogy, this kind of like big grand vision of your life that's starting to get clearer and crisper as you work on it, as you come into our community and you start like really playing with this stuff, all right? It becomes much easier to do this harder work of changing the negative thinking because you now have a reason to do it. You start to be like, man, all this fear and negativity, that's not going to help me get there. I want to travel around the world. I want to write that book. Man, there's things that I really want to achieve and I'm really clear about what that was. I better get on it. And then we give practices to really work on changing the patterns, on interrupting the negativity in the moment of our lives. It's one of the unique things about our work is that our practices for pattern interrupt and changing negative thinking happens in the moment. It doesn't happen on these videos. It happens where you are out in the world and you meet these limiting thoughts and change them in the moment. But it's so powerful because you're doing it while connected with the more exciting vision. You need to have that exciting vision. You need to have the excitement. That's why on our calls, our brothers are like, on fire. They're so excited about what they can create again. The fire is lit. It becomes much easier to then go ahead and do that work of changing the negative, okay? Excuse me. So the third piece of this matrix, the third prong, if you will, was the one that was most surprising to me personally when I started doing this work with all you brothers. And it is the community. It is the brotherhood, okay? And this was the part that I didn't get, but I really get it now. And I want to start this part off by just sharing that in our history as men, we have eons and eons of historical information and wisdom that has told us that we always do well when we work together. We are pack creatures, you and I, okay? We have always helped each other. In almost every culture around the world, you'll see historical evidence of men helping men go through transformational processes and working together in groups to help us kind of achieve a goal. It's what we do as men. In the modern day, if you just look at the military, you look at sports, you look at fraternities and colleges, like we still have remnants of this where we kind of like feel that connection, that community. Okay, so it still exists in this world today. But for the most part, and this is the part that was most surprising, the authentic connection that we need as men to really better ourselves has been stripped away in modern times. And while we have the internet, we have social media, and we have all these things that connect us more, there is a disease running rampant in our modern world, and it is the disease of isolation. We have become lone wolves, working on ourselves, by ourselves, trying to figure it out. And it's really hard to do that. Now, we may have friends, we may have partners, we may have kids, we may have family and coworkers, but I'm talking about real, authentic connection. Real connection, where we can actually show up and share what we want and figure out together in a community how we do it, to get feedback from other men, to actually have them hold your feet to the fire, to have accountability partners that are really in it with you. And it's not only about you getting, okay? The big shift that just blew my mind was how much value that we all have, and we are bottled up. We're not able to give in our normal lives the real value and insights that we've learned as individuals. But when we come together as a community, we are able to then give back to other men. And that is so gratifying. When you help another man achieve greatness in his life, that feeling, that just propels you forward. It just makes you feel like useful and alive. And guess what? It's a vicious cycle, a positive vicious cycle, where you are then helping and getting help. And all of a sudden you're in this community of men that are supporting each other. That is so new, so radical, yet so obvious and so ancient. It's the lost art of brotherhood. And so as we're doing work like life blueprinting and thinking about our bigger dreams, and then we're doing the work of squashing those negative behaviors and patterns, right? That second piece. When we do it in community, in authentic community of men that are doing that work together, the speed by which we achieve our desired results is ridiculous. This is why you'll see in our testimonial reels, like guys like having these life-changing things happen so fast, because these three things work together. And that's what this is. So, brothers, for the guys that are on this live call, I invite you to continue to amplify your work in these areas. And if you have never met us, come in to our calls. You will have an open invite to be a part of what we're doing. You know, I am just sharing the tip of the iceberg here. These three prongs, life blueprinting, squashing negative behaviors and thinking, and our brotherhood and community are just the tip of the iceberg. You know, each one goes much, much deeper, as you might imagine. And there's real practices that will change your life. There's real experiences that we're doing here. But I just wanted to give you the overview of these three things, okay? Because they will change your life and they will start reprogramming your mind starting right now. So go and write that eulogy first step, and I can't wait to meet you brothers on our next call.